My boyfriend's mother torments us with her toxicity. She called 911 on us.
Who's calling 911 if it's not an emergency?
Yeah.
That's illegal.
My boyfriend's mom is easily one of the worst people I've ever encountered in my entire life, and it is a miracle that her son, my boyfriend, has turned out to be such an incredible, kind, loving person. She has serious, blatant mental issues that aren't being treated, and I oscillate between feeling intense sadness for her and pure hatred. By the way, this comes from random acts of paranoia on the r/OK Storytime subreddit. Some examples of her behavior just from the past year. She filed a restraining order against her own brother over a financial trust dispute. Her father passed away last year, and he was apparently very wealthy, and there was a big trust fund to fight over. I don't know what happened between her and her brother, but I watched her behavior at the hospital while her father passed away, and she was an awful witch. Her own mother, who has severe dementia, was beside herself. Every 30 minutes, she had to be reminded that we were in the hospital with her husband of 50 years on his deathbed. My boyfriend's mother was seriously nasty to her, and even hospital staff noticed and tried to protect her. Oh, wow. The trust should have gone to the widow, and her brother took it over to provide medical care and living arrangements for her. She fought this tooth and nail, insisting that the money was hers. She sued him for the money and lost. Well, yep.
Yeah, because it's supposed to go to the
Yeah, whoever's like on the trust probably.
Yeah.
She remains extremely bitter about this. She is very jealous of my boyfriend's niece's grandmother, the other grandma, and badmouths her to this 6-year-old child, saying things like, "Grandma Mary is a bee." Grandma Mary, by the way, is sweet, timid, and very quiet. Every Christmas, without fail, she blows up. The mother-in-law, not Grandma Mary. We hosted her at our home last Christmas, and all seemed well until she found out that we were going to Vegas the next week to celebrate my birthday. She stormed out and drove home, then on Christmas Day wrote an email stating, "You are no longer my children." Whoa. Period. Like I said, I have learned my lesson. I am sure Mary will take you in, as that seems to be her MO. My boyfriend pulled up email records from the past 5 years, and there is always an email like this sent to the entire family on Christmas. What? Why Christmas? She's like, Christmas is canceled.
She's like,
every
you guys
year.
ruined Christmas again.
She lives 2 hours away, but had a dance event where we live this past summer. We agreed to host her for a couple of days, but when she informed us it would be nearly 5 full days and we had evening plans on some of them, we asked if she could stay at my boyfriend's brother's house. She gets violently angry if we're not in the home to entertain her. This caused the biggest uproar you could ever imagine. She told my boyfriend that he was a horrible son, told him to F himself, and that she hated him. Dude.
She sounds like she has some like mental issues here.
OP did say that she has some mental issues because the other brother is still your son, so like why can't you go with them too?
It seems like this is like it could be something along the lines of like bipolar or something. Because this is it's
very extreme.
Very extreme.
When she finally got to our house a couple of days later, she ran into the house screaming and demanded he go get all of her stuff out of the car. He was miserably sick, and when she found this out, she told him she ought to slap him upside the head for having her there.
She's the one
you're the one that wanted to be there and got mad when they said no.
Unbelievable.
He debated telling her he was sick, but thought she would blow up. Either way, there was no winning. We were under the impression that she would be at her event through the weekend, but instead she sat around our home complaining and being generally awful. We both had important work to do over the weekend that we could not do because she was there. When she offered to sweep and mop the floors, we didn't stop her because it gave her a distraction. I guess, there you go.
She's like, I'm gonna sweep because it's filthy, and they're like,
it's like, just do it. Oh no. Please let me do that. She later wrote an email stating, "I am trying to get out and meet people, but you all curtail any effort. I don't have any friends. My whole life has been condemned to the enslavement of others, whether I want to or not. The final straw was giving up the afternoon dance events to mop and clean for the son." Wow.
You can't, like, the thing is, like, you can't even argue with people like this.
You can't.
They can't hear it.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. Because it's like, I mean, even if there's something like bipolar disorder, like, I'm sure there's some sort of, like, I don't know how to diagnose, but maybe some sort of like narcissism. Could be something
along those lines.
Yeah, like
some sort of mental.
Right. And even like, I'm thinking like, even if besides mental things. Like there's probably just other like things maybe that she grew up with that just like never quite learned how to handle things properly or something like that. It's a very tricky situation.
Indeed.
I would have paid her to leave that day. This is just a mild example of how her mind works and how she justifies her own behavior. One of her lifelong dreams was to drive the Pacific Coast Highway. My boyfriend tried to make that dream a reality for her last month. Together, they planned the cities to stop at, activities they wanted to do, the type of car that they wanted to drive. They agreed about who would pay for what. I was invited on this trip and reluctantly agreed to go. We all discussed payment and agreed I would pay for my own food and activities while they would split car and hotel costs since I didn't have a say in any of it and it was technically their trip. After the dance event incident, she wrote an email stating, I am only going to Cali at this point because OP would be forced to go 50-50 with the son, even though she makes less than him, but it wouldn't be that much fun. But isn't this I
don't get that part. It sounds like she's like, I'm only going to California so I can make OP pay money.
Like if I think the mother-in-law is now thinking like they are going to go on this trip and split 50-50, but since OP can't pay 50-50, then I'm going so that I can like lessen the costs. I think that's what she's saying.
Oh, so she's like, I'm helping people. I'm helping them.
Yeah, like I'm like providing charity pretty much. She wrote this to the entire family for some reason. We moved forward with the trip, aware of the potential risks. Things blew up way beyond whatever we had planned, though. We expected anger and childlike behavior from her, but the justification for my boyfriend is that if it would improve her happiness levels even slightly, it was worth it. On the last day, she has a tendency to get very upset the day a trip ends. While discussing payments, she just lost it. We were in the car and she started screaming about how awful we were at the top of her lungs. She screamed bloody murder at me for things I've never even said or thought. She brought up things from years ago that have since been distorted in her mind. And when my boyfriend said that the screaming needed to stop or we would have to just head to the airport early, our flight was about 8 hours from then, and a 2-hour drive, she lost it even further. She called 911 and insisted that we were both holding her hostage and about to abandon her.
Wait, what?
Oh my gosh. This woman, like, exaggerating everything.
Everything
to the
is
fullest extent.
Everything is you're attacking me.
We had to pull over in a fancy hotel parking lot, no less, and the cops came and questioned all of us. Within 5 minutes, they caught on to her mental health issues and hysteria. They forced her to vacate the car and separate from us. She got hysterical again, begging to not have to leave and that she would just shut up. When they said it was a bad idea to stay together, she asked for the police report number so that she could file a restraining order against my boyfriend.
She's collecting these restraining orders
really
like
is.
Pokemon cards.
Yeah. Yeah, even though like are they gonna do?
Yeah.
What are they gonna do? He gave her money for a car and food for the day and drove away in shock. So why am I writing all this? Partially to vent. Partially because I feel like I'm going crazy. My boyfriend said I need to just separate myself from her alternate reality and not let it affect me, but I simply cannot do that no matter how much I try. I think she needs mental help, but my boyfriend just says that's the way she is. The thing is, there's always a summer blow up like this, and then about a month before Christmas, she writes an email that says, so when do you want to celebrate Christmas? And whose place am I staying? It just cannot happen again this year. I don't want her in my life, and I especially don't want her ruining my favorite time of year for the 3rd year in a row. Am I being overly sensitive? Should I just put up with her behavior? How do we move forward in a healthy way? And there are some relevant comments, but Sophia, what do you think?
I think your boyfriend is being underly sensitive. And you should not have to put up with this behavior, this like very intense behavior. And I think that you need to tell your boyfriend like, this is not normal. This is not normal behavior.
Right.
And you should try and get her help. If she refuses, that's, there's not much you can do after that. But like try and do something.
Yeah.
Because I can't live like this. Or we just need to like limit contact with her because, again, it's a lot.
Yeah. Because I mean, for the boyfriend, like this is someone who
has been his whole
up
life.
with,
yeah,
so he's probably just like really used to it, and then this is very new for OP, and like I'm sure he had his like breakdown with it, and then got through it or something like that. You know what I mean? I'm sure he's had his time to cope and to figure out how to live with it. But OP is like just now starting to deal with this problem. So it's like, maybe she has not like,
like when you go into a musty room and the person who like lives in that room is like, oh hey, and you're like, whoa, it stinks in here. Blind. Yeah, and they're like, nah, I didn't even smell it. It's like, right, because you've been there the whole time.
Exactly. There are some relevant comments, so let's see if they agree with us. American Girl says, you don't have a mother-in-law problem, you have an SO problem. That's just the way she is a fine attitude when someone over decorates for Christmas or is obsessed with polka music. It does not apply when the person is a psycho lunatic and the police need to be called. If your boyfriend doesn't start setting some boundaries and continues to enable her crazy, you may want to think seriously about trading him in for a guy who has a spine and can say no to his mother. Ooh. Run, do not walk to Just No Mail. They can help.
Dang, man.
Dang, that's harsh. That's harsh.
Yeah.
OP says, to be fair, after the summer dance event incident, we came together and made a joint decision that she could no longer stay in our home. That was a healthy discussion, a big step for him, and the line we drew brought us both relief. Also, me going on that trip was my decision, and I could have said no. He did not force me and wouldn't have made me feel guilty for not going. Still, I didn't think that it was a good idea to do the trip in the first place, and I did want to support him. We agreed after that trip that there would be no more trips like that while she was still this unhealthy. And there is an update. But it's interesting that like they agreed that like, while she was still this unhealthy, even though he's kind of like doesn't seem to be putting an effort to like get her help.
Yeah.
Like this isn't just gonna like solve itself.
Yeah. Like he recognizes that this isn't like it isn't good.
It's not healthy
and doesn't want to make the step to fix anything. Weird. Again, there is only so much that he can do because she does have to accept that help.
Right.
Which I doubt she would want to.
Right.
But yeah, so it is tricky.
So it's been about a month since I last posted, and there have been a few small developments. The most notable thing is that my boyfriend and I, along with his family, have had several serious conversations about how to move forward. But first, some more information on how his mother has been behaving over the last month. She went on a spree of verbally attacking me, both via text to me and via text to his family members. She threatened to sabotage our recent trip to my hometown to see my family, which I'd been looking forward to for months, as we hadn't been all together in 3 years. She also made lots of petty comments and insults about me, not limited to my lack of talent. I am in a creative profession. And my boyfriend's stupidity for being with someone like me. Basically, she's super pissed with her current situation, with her current station in life, and I am the privileged individual who gets the blame. She also contacted my boyfriend's brother to let him know that she was writing his 7-year-old daughter out of her will and taking away her college fund. This has been done about 24 times. Because she spent time with me and enjoyed it versus not being happy when spending time with her. Wow. She's like, what would possibly be her reasoning to why that could happen besides the truth?
Yeah.
Like what? How does it make sense in your brain? Like, what would she be doing? Like sabotaging her and being like, you had more fun with her.
Well, she's super paranoid, it seems.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
This is something that would take a lot of help to deal with. A lot of time, a lot of therapy, and whatever else.
And a little bit of luck.
Yes. I have blocked her from every social media platform, email, phone, and text. My boyfriend's brother has taken a placating approach by simply responding with okay whenever she texts versus engaging. Outside of the verbal aggression, she has backed off. She used to call my boyfriend at a frequency of several times a week, which he admits was a cumbersome, exhausting burden because he felt obligated to listen to her 30-minute angry diatribes about whatever drama was happening in her world. She hasn't called him in 2 months, and it has been glorious. Regarding the upcoming holidays, we sat down with his other family members here and decided how to move forward. We are all in agreement that we will not spend Thanksgiving or Christmas with his mother. We have made plans to travel out of town for both Thanksgiving and Christmas, and we're very much looking forward to the mini excursions. At this point, his mother would have likely contacted us about Thanksgiving plans, but in her anger since the PCH fiasco, she hasn't attempted to do so. I am not sure if she will reach out about Christmas, but if she does, then we will relay our current plans and take it as we go. In addition to family-wide conversations about the holidays, we have talked extensively about his mother's mental health and the best ways to move forward. In my state, there is a law that allows you to file a court-ordered mental health evaluation, and it only takes one person to file the application. That is not an option we have ruled out, especially since she is clearly hurting and mentally unwell and could benefit greatly from a mental health check and medication. It is my understanding that one has been filed for her previously, and the court found mental disorder, but she has ceased taking medication. If it were up to me, I would file the application yesterday, especially since she mentioned wanting to unalive herself in her last angry bout.
Yeah,
Oof.
she needs
Lots of help.
like medical help and
that's
psychiatric help.
Yes. Ultimately, though, I don't want to sidestep my boyfriend. But you know what I think should be court ordered is you guys finding more stories just like this on any of your podcast apps, Spotify, Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
And if you don't do that, we're suing you.
Yeah.
Don't make the rules.
Literally court ordered.
It's literally court ordered.
Yesterday.
You'll be receiving it in the mail.
But there is more to this story. Do we have any last thoughts before we move on, or should we just jump right in?
My final thought is that, I mean, like you're in love with your boyfriend.
Mm-hmm.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But if it gets to a point, I think it's just like keeping an eye on this. And if it gets to a point where you are at risk or you are in danger and your boyfriend is not, standing up for you in the way that he needs to be.
Yeah.
Or you are put at the expense of your mother. His mother is put at the expense of you. Then maybe it's time to take a step back from this relationship.
Yeah.
So far, it doesn't seem like we've reached that, but keeping an eye on it.
Get in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But there is a bit more. In the end, as a family, we have agreed that our lives are better when she's not in it, and that ultimately she is happier too, since everything we do, even planning a lifelong dream trip for her, causes her great distress in the end. We'll just have to take this one day at a time, but things have been calmer generally, and I'm looking forward to the holidays instead of feeling anxious about them for the first time in 3 years. Well, there you go. That's the end. Seems like they're reaching good
You're gonna have a good Christmas
solution.
Yeah.
It seems like it is getting a little better.
I think so.
Yeah. So that's great. I think you guys are handling it
it
very nicely.
Me too.
Very nicely. But yeah, that's the end of the story.